Whoo, not me already crying. Hold on. What's up, y'all? I'm already emotional, okay? Hi. I feel like I can't even say I feel like, I know, because I know y'all feel like, because it is like, I've not been on here in a minute, okay? Especially just an intimate format between me and y'all. I feel like my recent videos was, you know, including other people, different perspectives and stuff like that. It's just been a lot. We're gonna, okay? I'm hoping there's not too much start and stop because there's a lot of noise outside, and like noise is like my, it's just my biggest pet peeve. Loud sounds, uncontrollable sounds. It's just like, why? Anyway, we have a lot to talk about. We have a whole lot to talk about. Man, I don't even know where to start. Obviously, you see the title of this video. Man, this one has been a long time coming. I have a story to tell, and I want to tell y'all about it. Let me stop stalling. Let's just get into it. We're not gonna do the whole subscribe intro. We're getting real raw today, and I think it's gonna be for the best. All right, I really don't even know where to start this story. As you can see by the title, clearly, you know, this has something to do with my truth, my story, my fertility. As a lot of you probably know, my channel is about self-love, self-worth, women empowerment, confidence coaching, all of those things. I've always had a lot of you asking me like, where did this come from? And you know, how did you get so confident? And And I've always chalked it up to different things because I was avoiding having to be vulnerable about where I really got that from. In reflection, in my growing in this past year, I know I've been a little distant. I needed time. I needed to explore myself. I needed to explore my trauma. I needed to explore a lot of things that I had not yet explored. I needed to explore my unhealed trauma that I thought was healed, trauma I didn't know I had, things I didn't want to label as trauma. In reflecting with all of that, I realized where I actually got all of this from. I think I obviously knew all along. Obviously, I know a lot of my trauma, but it's putting a label on it, it's naming it, that I was avoiding. So I'm gonna bring you guys back with me to the beginning. Man, never thought I would see this day of telling this story. So when I was younger, like 12, 13, so at that time, you know, at that age, what am I in, middle school, 7th grade? At that time, you know, all the girls were like developing. Okay, the girls was getting the chest and the hips and the da and the da. And you know, you want that. You know, I'm like, okay, this is what, at that time, this is what womanhood is. You know, this is what makes you a woman. That's how I felt at that time, you know, that and pregnancy. Because now, you know, you learn once you get your period, now you can get pregnant. So I'm thinking womanhood is marked and defined by shapely body and pregnancy. So I didn't want to get pregnant though. I just wanted my body. Yeah, but I wasn't getting it. I was really active at this time. I was cheerleading, all of this stuff. I was like this big. So at 12, I didn't have my period yet. That's pretty normal, you know, like some people do at that age, some people don't. I didn't, and it bothered me. And I would be telling my mom, like, something wrong with me, like, I'm telling you, something wrong with me, like, I need my period. I'm trying to look up ways to like make your stuff grow, and you know what I'm saying? I just come home and bark every day to my family, like, yo, something's wrong with me, like, you gotta take me to the doctor, like, why don't I have my period? So eventually they took me just to shut me up, like, girl, okay, fine, you're gonna go, the doctor's gonna tell you you're fine, you're just really active, and whatever, right? So I'm like, fine, like, we'll see who's right. And I'm thinking, like, best case scenario, I go, the doctor's like, oh, you just need to be eating more of this, or you just need to be taking this vitamin, and you're gonna get it in a week. Like, that's best case scenario for me. So worst case scenario, it is because I'm too active and I just gotta wait. But that's my mindset, right? So boom. So we go, right? They like do all these tests, all these whatever. So what the type of doctor that I went to is called an endocrinologist. But because I was a child, it was a pediatric endocrinologist, which endocrine is not just like reproductive stuff. It's also a lot of different things. Like young children who have diabetes and things also go to endocrinologist. It's a big space. But I was going to a pediatric endocrinologist to see what was going on. Boom, they do all these tests, whatever. We go back for the second appointment to like look over the results. I'm like, I'm about to get mine. Like, it's lit. Boom. My parents take me. The doctor sends me out the room. She's like, you need to go to the waiting room for a little bit. I'm gonna talk to your parents first, you know, whatever. Me, little me, I'm thinking like, okay, don't care. I got my iPod, I got my headphones in. I'm in the waiting room like, hype, right? Stupid. Silly little girl. I feel like I'm kiki and laughing now because it's about to skirt. But anyway, so yeah, so I'm like in the waiting room, whatever. Then one of the nurses like comes back like, yeah, you can go back in the room now. Whatever. So I go back in the doctor's office. I pop myself up on the little, you know, the little doctor beds, whatever. I pop myself up. I'm like, so? Dead silent in the room. I'm like, so? I pop myself up and I'm like, why are everybody so quiet? I look at my parents who are sitting in the parent chairs and they look teary-eyed. They look like they have been crying. And I'm like, I'm double taking everybody in the room and I'm like, hold on. And at that moment, you know when your body can just feel like a shift in the way that I'm feeling it right now? A shift. Like that moment really shifted the rest of my life. Man. So, I didn't want to cry. So, I look back at the doctor and I'm like, why is everybody so quiet? And she's like, so basically, we looked over your results and it seems like you, have something called premature ovarian failure. And because of that, you cannot have kids. And man, it's still a thing. And I was like, what? Like, I'm 13, so I'm looking at her like, what are you talking about? Like, what? She's like, yeah, it's just what it seems like from what I'm looking at. Whatever, it's giving freeze your eggs or adoption. And I'm like, I can't even say what I'm like because I didn't know what the hell she was talking about. So she said that, she starts talking and explaining her reasoning as to why she made this deduction, and it really just sounds like wah, 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 wah in my ear because I'm so shocked and my body is just going into like dissociation. Like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to, I can't even, like, I can't even process what just happened. I can't even face my parents, because, you know, it's funny because even now, people in my life will refer to me as the strong friend. And I hate that. But I've always been that. I've always been the rock for everyone else. So even in that moment, I couldn't express couldn't express how hurt I was, because if I were to cry or express it or let my parents see me hurt, they're gonna be hurt. Clearly they're already hurt. So why, in my child brain, and really I'm still like this, why should I be selfish, or why should I, you know, express myself and make them feel worse? So I didn't cry. I really fought through it. My eyes were for sure teary, but man, I couldn't even look at him. I couldn't even look at him. So yeah, I'm 13, I'm sitting there with my little feet swinging. She's telling me all this and I'm just like, man, whatever. Like, okay, what now? They tried to send me to fertility clinics. They tried to freeze my eggs. Thank God my parents were not going for that. Yeah, it was a painful couple years of that, you know, because they were trying to be so proactive for me, which when I get to the end of the story, you'll understand why I sound so bitter about it. But them trying to get in front of a problem that wasn't confirmed to be there, you know, it was an assumption, but it was her strongly educated assumption, an educated opinion, right? So we took it. And what's crazy is, it's not funny, but what's crazy is we tried to go get a second opinion, right? And it ended up being her colleagues. Like when we met with them and stuff, they were like, oh my gosh, we know your doctor. Not only do we know your doctor emailed us your case. And she emailed us your case, and like we basically gave her diagnosis was already from them, because she didn't know what to say was going on. She didn't know what was going on. She didn't know what she was, you know what I'm saying? So she got her diagnosis from them. So it really wasn't even a second opinion. So at that point, it was just frustration. I was over the doctor's offices. I was just over it. Like, we're taking this opinion and it is what it is. So basically what she was saying was that something was going on with my reproductive system at that time, and it was just kind of not, you know, doing what it needed to do. And so because of that, you're not gonna be able to have kids. And that's not something that you would see at the naked eye, you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, I don't got no crazy but obviously, you know, physically you wouldn't think, you know what I'm saying? Physically, you never know what another woman is going through. Crazy enough, I ended up getting my period like right after that, right? So I don't know, it was almost like I felt at that time, because I had got my period like right after that, I felt at that time that God was like punishing me for like being so eager for like the body and stuff, that like he's like, see, you went and did all that extra stuff, now you put yourself through trauma, and you was gonna get your period right around the corner anyway. You know, it felt like that. It felt like you should have just been patient, because now you have this weight to bear, and you wouldn't have had it, or you wouldn't have had it until you were like 30, you know, when you were ready for kids and stuff. What am I supposed to do with this information at 13? Even when I did get my period, like right after that, it was such a bittersweet, like, I don't even want it now. You know what I mean? Like you begged for this for so long, and look what came along with trying to, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, as I was saying, at that age, I thought that womanhood was characterized by your body and pregnancy, because those are two things that boys don't have, right? So I'm sitting there like, am I less of a woman now because I have my period, but I'm still not really shapely? It's never really been my body. You guys who follow me and stuff now, I ain't got no crazy, you know? So I'm like, damn, my period didn't even come with the body that I thought it was gonna come with. And I can't even, according to this lady, I can't even have kids. What type of woman am I? At that time, I felt like so small as a woman. I felt so inadequate as a woman. Obviously, I'm 13, I'm 14 around this time now, but like, you want to feel like a young woman, you know what I'm saying? I felt so inadequate. I felt less than. And it's crazy because, especially with fertility, it's not something you could tell from the outside looking in, right? So I'm looking around like I'm the only one in the universe that has this issue, because all these other girls around me, they look fine, right? So did I. Underdeveloped brain at that time, super pliable brain to stereotypes and misogyny at that time. I felt so alone. I felt so inadequate. I felt, why me? I felt a lot of negative things about myself. And then I went into the, will a man ever love me? Will a man ever stay with me? Will a man ever, whatever? Do you tell him on the first date? Do you tell him on the second date? How can I keep a man with this? Because of my limited scope of what womanhood was, I'm like, well, men seem, at this time, it seems like men love women for our bodies and because we can give them kids. So what am I supposed to do? And it was crippling. It was depressing. It was, man, man, spent a lot of my teenage years feeling that way, feeling so small, feeling awful about myself, about my womanhood, about my femininity, all of those things. Eventually, as life went on, I ended up getting a second opinion. And you know what's crazy is that a big reason that I got a second opinion at that time, well, I was probably, what, 20 at this point? All of this was just really weighing on me. I feel like as I was getting older and entering my 20s, all that trauma was coming up. And I had a best friend at the time. And one day I just cried and I broke down to her and I told her everything that, you know, my story. And she was like, you need to get a second opinion. And it's funny because I'm no longer close to this person. Fell out over stupid stuff, as always. But I'm forever grateful for that conversation. Because it changed my life. So yeah, so I'm like, yeah, I do. This is a lot of trauma, whatever. I go and get a second opinion at another endocrinologist, right? So traumatizing to have to go through all of that testing all over again, back in the doctor's office. It was so triggering, so traumatizing, and I think that's why I avoided it for so long, because I couldn't put myself through that again. So I put myself through it again, and it's time to go back into the office for results and stuff. And I'm like, listen, man, it is what it is. Like, we're gonna figure out, you know, the real details behind what's going on with you and your body, and we're gonna deal with it. Go in. She has like all these diagrams set out for me and all this stuff. And she's like, yeah, your first doctor was wrong. What? What? She's like, yeah, you can carry your child just fine. Basically, what she found out was she really did her research, and I am so forever grateful for that woman, because my first doctor 10 years prior, she couldn't even give me an answer. Like, when I asked her, like, how did this happen? Like, why did this happen? She was like, I don't know. Which should have let me know that it was an inaccurate diagnosis, but like, she was just trying to chalk it up to like, this is just a fluke thing. This is just like some crazy thing that happened. I don't know, it's rare. Which made me feel even more alone and even more about why me. But we don't hold any animosity towards that woman either. But anyway, so back to the second situation. She's like, yeah, basically what happened, your body had like an autoimmune thing and it was like fighting your body. So it was kind of masking things that were going on within your body, which is why that doctor thought she saw what she saw. But she just didn't take the extra mile to say like, oh no, she just has an autoimmune thing. That doesn't mean that her reproductive system doesn't work. That just means her reproductive system is fighting against this autoimmune thing. And then I guess my body just grew out of that autoimmune thing. I don't really know. But now that autoimmune thing is not fighting in my body anymore, now you can see everything clearly because I've developed, the autoimmune thing went away, whatever. So because of that, now you can see everything clearly in my body. And now that you can see everything clearly, everything looks good. Well, now what? So she's like, yeah, you can carry a baby, your uterus is fine, your ovaries fine, everything's fine, you're good, you're good, you're good. You should just take some calcium for your bones and stuff. So my parents also came and supported me for that too, and they're ecstatic, right? They're excited. They're like, oh my gosh, you're fine. And I was like, I'm not fine though, because now mentally what this has done to me is irreconcilable. Like, okay, cool, I'm fine, I can have kids, everything's fine, but the damage that decade did, I can't take that back. We can take the diagnosis back, we can re-diagnose, but we can't take that trauma, that time, those years, the things I taught myself about myself, we can't take that back. So it almost wasn't even the ending I wanted. And I don't want to say that because I am grateful. I am grateful for my body, I'm grateful for my reproductive system, I'm grateful for my second doctor, I'm grateful that I am okay. I'm grateful that that is something that I you know, probably will do one day. But the pain that came with it, it felt like it was for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like it felt like a cruel, sick joke. Like a ha ha ha, gotcha. Just kidding. I was so mad. I was so angry at the first doctor. I wanted to sue her for freaking misdiagnosis and malpractice. I wanted to do it all until I realized, yo, had that doctor never misdiagnosed me, I would have never went on the journey that I did of self-love, of what is womanhood, of what is femininity, what does it mean to be a woman. I would have never found out just how much bigger womanhood is than fertility, than your body. Because that happened to me, I went on such a deep dive of like, okay, because I was depressed at first, like, I won't even lie. I was struggling, and then eventually in my later teen years, I went through like, okay, how am I gonna live with this? What is womanhood? Is this really all womanhood is? Who am I? Am I reducing myself to this? And I went in and I unlearned all the misogyny that was put on us as women. I unlearned all the stereotypes. I unlearned all the sexualization. I unlearned everything. I unlearned it all, and I went into a journey of, okay, maybe you don't have this part that's typically associated with womanhood, but what do you have? What do you have that's typically associated with womanhood? Like, what do you have? What makes you a woman? What does that for you? And I dove and I read books, and I read myself, and I journaled, and I cried, and I healed, and I did so much work on myself to now be the woman that I am today, of understanding I am so much bigger than any one part of womanhood. I am so much bigger than that. I am so much better than that. Womanhood is not that. Womanhood is not your body. Womanhood is not your fertility. Womanhood is not if you could cook and clean. Womanhood is not that, and it's different for everybody. But the definition that I found for myself that I feel comfortable with is so much bigger than that. And so once I figured that out about myself, once I found this newfound love for myself, once I found all these things and I realized, like, I am woman, I am feminine, I am these things, like, the diagnosis, you know what I'm saying? Like, the fertility, the body, everybody, like, the men. Once I got to that point, it was like, man, like, I could live with this. But it was still a touchy, sore subject, which is why I ended up crying and why I ended up getting that second, opinion. But that bitterness, it went away when I realized this wasn't a cruel, sick joke. This was a journey that I was put on to find myself, and this happened for me, not to me. And I always say that now because it felt like, why did this happen to me? Like, why did I get the misdiagnosis? Why did I have to go through that trauma when I was fine the whole time? Why did I have to go through that? And I realized I shouldn't be asking why I had to go through that. I should be thankful that I did go through that, because the woman that it made me not rely on male validation, misogyny, stereotypes, body, fertility. It made me not rely on that to feel whole. It made me not rely on that to feel like a divine woman. It made me not rely on that. So now that I am now blessed with being quote unquote fine, which is a whole nother conversation, because fertility, now because I've gone through that, I really am like an advocate for not shaming women that do deal with fertility issues, because it is such a common issue. If there are any of you watching, I am here for you so much. Please don't feel like because my diagnosis changed that I don't understand you, because I do. I dealt with it for a decade of my life. I see you, you are seen, you are valid, you are enough. You are enough. Please know that. But that's another video for another day, but I don't even know where I was going. That really just like sidetracked me. Anyway, point is, although I had done this journey and this work of being, a woman that is not dependent on things outside of me, now I have to do the work of what little Taty felt. And that's why I feel as though now we grow and we evolve, but we always carry those other little versions of us somewhere inside of us. And so although now I may feel like, X, Y, and Z for the most part, there is a little Taty in there somewhere, that little 14, 13-year-old that can get triggered. And she lives with me, she lives in me, she is me. And so I have to nurture her too, because she gets sad sometimes too. She gets insecure too. She still has those questions of, am I enough? Am I this? Am I woman enough? Am I this and that? She still feels that too sometimes. And that still gets triggered, and I still have to heal her when she does come out. I wanted to make sure that I said that, because just because I overall am very confident and I love myself without any validation. As a woman, I feel like I'm divine, I am feminine, I am all of these things, right? I really feel that now because of everything that I've gone through, but I still have my days. I still have my moments. I still have that. I still might slip into wanting to fit the stereotype sometimes. I still might slip into, you know, body dysmorphia. I still might slip. I still have my days. And I don't ever want to set the unrealistic expectation of when you've found this newfound self-love and confidence that you never have your days. Because women are already held to such a high standard that is inhuman. Like it's just, we're not superhumans, right? Well, we are, but we're still human. And so I don't ever want y'all or myself or anything to put ourselves on that pedestal of like, I could never feel down about myself once I finally feel up about myself. It's not true. That triggered me to have to go into a lot of healing therapy, girl. Like, I had to get right. I had to heal the parts of me that got tucked away when I went through the journey of self-love and unlearning. Because just because it got tucked away doesn't mean that it was healed. You can't push that down forever. You know what I mean? I think I learned a lot through that journey, but I had to unlearn what little me knew, if that makes sense. So the reason why I'm able to give the advice that I give to y'all about womanhood, about dating, about things like that, about choosing yourself, is because of what I have gone through. And I came out on the other side, and I'm so grateful for it. Life is about so much more than motherhood. And I think that journey, that pause that happened to me so that I knew that life was about, and womanhood was about, so much more than motherhood and body. So now I love my body. And I still would love myself even if the diagnosis didn't get turned over. That's what matters. And I think that's why I went through that, and that's why I hold no bitterness towards that first doctor, because had she not effed up, had she not done that, had she not made that assumption, I wouldn't have went on that deep dive journey. Who knows who I would be today? I might still be craving male validation. I might still be wondering if I'm gonna be enough for a man. How can I keep a man? How can I da-da-da-da-da? Am I enough of a woman? Are these women better than me? I might still be feeling like that. I still might be living in that, as many of us are. But I'm not, because I was forced to not be able to. It changed my life. It changed my life. And I also think it'll make me that much more appreciative when the time comes for me to have a child, because of what I've gone through. So I think, you know, that's gonna be an experience in its own. Let me be clear in saying that is why I am who I am today. That is why I chose to end up going to college for psychology and women's and gender studies. That's why I did that, because of what I went through. And I'm still very young. I'm in my early 20s, you know what I mean? I'm still living my life, but I've always had to be 13 going on 30. I've always had to be wiser. I've always had to be more mature. I've always had to be a woman. And so I have a lot of experience in that realm. A lot that some would deem was unnecessary, but I think it was necessary for who I am now, as a friend, as a daughter, as a sister, as a girlfriend, as all of those things. Yeah, so I got through it. I didn't cry too much, huh? That is my story, but that is also why I've had to take time away from YouTube. I am back now. I am back. I promise I'm back. We're filming like 3 videos this week for y'all. I am back now, but that's why I had to take time away this past year from YouTube, because I was healing. I also was working on some projects for you guys that will be coming out next year. But I talked about this in some of these projects, and I needed time. I needed time to heal. I needed time to figure out how I was going to bring it to y'all, because y'all are my safe space, and I hope that I've always been a safe space for you all. Now I'm getting emotional. I'm so grateful for everything that happened, because it brought me y'all, and it brought me the ability to impact y'all and to help you, young women in general. It brought me the opportunity to shift you away from the years of suffering I went through, feeling like not enough, feeling like this about, will I ever keep a man? Am I enough of a woman? Is my body enough? It allowed me to pull you away so you all didn't have to go through the years that I did feeling that way. And I'm so proud of all of you. I'm so proud of all of you. You guys are, oh man. You guys are killing it. I'm so proud of all of you, man. I'm so proud of all of you. And I'm so proud of myself because I got through it. I survived. I thrived through that suffering to be where I'm at now. And you know, there were a lot of other things along the way that were triggering, girl, that you know, pushed that further. But I am a human. I am a woman, and I am experiencing life and existing. And I am grateful for every low that I thought was a low that brought me to my highest highs. It didn't happen to me, it happened for me, and I just couldn't see it at that time. So whatever you're going through right now, it's not happening to you, it is happening for you, and let me be the testimony for that. Yeah, so speaking to my absence, I just needed to make sure I healed that as I entered this new chapter of my life. I had to grieve what happened to me. I had to grieve the grieving. I had to try to accept this new reality. That is my truth. And with that truth, I'm trying to once again make it count. Once again, make that unnecessary pain necessary. So this channel is a way for me to do that. The projects that I'm working on that are coming out next year, those are another way of me doing that. I don't want y'all to feel abandoned. I just had to stop abandoning myself. The only way that I can fully show up for y'all is by showing up for myself. And I needed to heal. I feel like your idea of who you are as a woman and your femininity and all of these things is constantly evolving. And I had to go through a period of evolution again. And that required isolation. That required me living my life, me going out, me having fun, me enjoying my relationship, me healing, me going to therapy, me doing things that I needed to do for me. And I feel like a completely different woman now. I feel like I'm even coming to y'all as a completely different woman. I know I seem the same on the outside, I sound the same, everything's the same, but I feel stronger. I feel more focused. I feel more healed. And so I'm ready to share that with you all. I'm ready to share with you all, you know, more parts of my life. I want y'all to know me separate from being the strong friend. That requires me being vulnerable with you all, and this is the start of that. This is the start. Even in this moment, see how I still cry and stuff, even talking about this stuff? It's not because, obviously, you know, I'm in a new chapter. It's because I still cry for little Taty. You know what I'm saying? Because I am the woman I am now, I still cry for the girl I was then. I still cry for what she felt about herself, about the world. I still cry for that. So I'm still healing, but man, I'm on my way, okay? I am on my way. And y'all are on y'all way too. Once again, if any of you all are dealing with fertility issues, have dealt with fertility issues, anything in that realm, I am here for you. Please feel free to reach out to me. I am a space. I am safe for you. I am your sister in that struggle. Always. I can never take that back. Please, and I am your sister. I'm all of y'all's sister in whatever struggle you are dealing with in your womanhood as well, because struggle is not uncommon to us as women, unfortunately. And so I feel sisterhood in that. I hope you all have a beautiful day, and I'm excited, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for listening.